Why Gen Z pop stars? What makes them special than other generations? At least to me? Well, first of all, because I am also a Gen Z, so I am a little bit biased and have a certain fondness for the pop stars with the same age as me. Second of all, I do feel like there's a noticeable general difference from them to other seniors in the industry. Of course, I am not over-complimenting them and praising them to be the better generation because obviously they still have a long way to go and rooms to improve. The difference I am addressing is how they define the pop in pop stars. As a Gen Z, of course, I grew up with the most iconic millennial pop stars Beyoncé, Britney, Taylor, Katy, Adele, Rihanna, Nicki, Gaga, and listening to their most iconic hits. I, as many young adults now looking back, know how they shaped the culture and soundscape of the 2000s and 2010s. Like, you can know immediately how a 2010s pop hit would sound like, or how a Y2K fashion looks like in the 2000s. There's definitely a sense of monoculturalism in the air. EDM in 2016.
Don't let me down.
Electropop in 2009.
It's Britney, bitch.
Girl boss lyricism in 2013.
Girls, we run this mother.
Pop rocks in early 2000. There's a trend in pop music and pop culture that these pop stars have all somewhat dabbed into and crossed over, maybe with some few exceptional variants like Adele. And then while I look at our current soundscape of this decade, and the current main pop girls, the Gen Zs, they go all over the place. There's almost no sense of centrism as the girls are branching out in their own niche lane to build an identity. They have distinguished sounds, unique visuals, tailored lore of their own world that they built that is not the same with the differentiation effort of the previous generations. It's like they have to do that to overcome the saturation and monoculture that was built and dominated by previous generations. I would say social media and streaming services have all played a part in this. These inventions boosted the personalization of everything, including music and pop culture. Now that the audience can choose what content they want to consume anywhere and at any time, there's no need to stay up all night to watch music videos on MTV or performances on award shows on TV anymore. Now people can find songs from the viral trends in their super personalized TikTok feeds or from their super personalized TV shows on Netflix, the streaming services. As a response to this change in demand and consumption, our pop girls are now on a mission. Not to be everything, everywhere, all at once, but to target a core audience but do it correctly and deeply. It's the art of building a brand and identity that has never been more needed in history, which is worth discussing. Hence the birth of this video, The Art of Being a Gen Z Pop Girls. This video aims to rank and discuss the Gen Z pop girls who were born from 1997 to 2012 on not just commercial success, but also their cultural impact, artistry, brand building, and world building. There isn't a definite set of criterias because just like the name of the channel, I love chaos. Therefore, this video is super subjective. However, that doesn't exempt my content from valid criticism as I always welcome constructive conversation that avoids parasocial relationships. Now, before we go in, let's go to the ranking. The first tier is S. They are the new Supremes. They rub shoulders with the legends from previous generations. But more importantly, they are the icons that define this new era in terms of cultural impact. They have a strong sound, a strong look, and a strong brand. And of course, talents. The only thing left for them to go to legendary is just time. The A tier is for the girls who are also successful, but just not as top the chart like the S tier. They also have a unique brand to run in the long term and a core strength that attracts a large audience. But in terms of a whole package, there's a tiny missing puzzle for them to really be a legend like the S tier. The B tier is the girls whom everyone knows but not so sure about if they can really run the game because they are often inconsistent. They have hits and a strong brand to discover the potentials, but they don't really dab into that inner strength often. The C tier is for the girls who are barely out of the Kia asylum. They are not Nugu, but they lack either strong talent or artistry to really have a long-term career. Like to distinguish between the B and C tier. The B tier girls have the potential to be a main pop girls, but are just untapped, while the C tier girls don't show much materials to work with apart from some rare shining moments. The D tier is for the Kia asylum. I just wish the best for them. They seem really passionate about music. The F tier is flop, and is only reserved for the one who terrorizes music. Firstly, let's start with one who blows up the most this year, Miss Possessive, Tate Mcrae. She has risen during the COVID years with the dual hits, You Broke Me First and Greedy. But I feel like only until her latest album, she really develops a sound and gives us a brand to tell and set her apart from the TikTok hits allegation. The triple run from It's Okay, I'm Okay to Two Hands and to the biggest gag, Sports Car, really ties her dancing skills, sporty image, mature sexy style, and dance pop R&B all together. The album was more cohesive and gave her an identity more than any past project. Thus, she's one of the current pop girls who are branded as the next Britney, with her blonde hair, great dancing, and kinda cursive baby voice. But there's something really missing for her to live up to that name, isn't there? First is the singing voice, not necessarily with the baby tone itself, but rather her pronunciation.
She'd be like, he's so perfect. I'd be like, oh, but there's
She has this way of not singing the word clearly, thus not making the audience know what lyrics she wants to deliver, which also leads to the second point, her narrative. Most of the song's lyrics felt formulaic and impersonal to really set Tate apart from the overly produced diva, man-hating, and girl boss persona of the industry. Third is, unpopular opinion, but the dancing. She's a great dancer, no doubt. But the choreography rarely hits. The reason Britney was a phenomenon was because of her viral charismatic dance moves. I am not black, but I kinda agree when a black person on TikTok said that the reason for that was that Britney was taught and choreographed by a black person, while Tate was by a white person. Thus, her groove and musicality are so different and not really flattering as much as Britney's. Don't get me wrong, Tate definitely has some great moments. The outro of It's Okay, I'm Okay was trending everywhere. And then the intro of Sports Car at the VMA was so cunty. But overall, it lacks finesse. In addition, some moves of Tatiana and her team are questionable and show signs that she might not be really there yet. 'Cause why was she collaborating with Morgan Wallen out of all people? And then the multiple album cover change was off-putting. In conclusion, while topping the charts and selling the tours in 2025, the rise of Tate Mcrae still shows room for improvements. She's a competent pop girl in the A tier. Next, we have another Rae, Ms. Addison Racist.
Talk out of the way, man.
I'm Addison. Nice to meet you. I have to say hi.
Not to joke, but why do all the Rae pop girlies have something to do with Republicans? Anyway, she has one of the most insane singles run during the last couple of years. From Diet Pepsi to Aquamarine to high fashion to headphones on and now to Fame as a Gun, Addison transitions from a cringy hype house TikToker to a pop girl who really studies the culture of girly popology and shows that she has taste. All of the singles smash in terms of quality, and the album ties so well in terms of cohesiveness. And let's not forget the low-budget yet aesthetically pleasing and unique visuals. It's clear that she has taken inspiration from legends like Gaga and Madonna, but she manages to really translate it to her own brand of vulnerable femininity and mystique. She's praised for having one of the greatest rebrands of all time. While some people criticizes her transition as being fake, inauthentic, and manufactured, but at this point, I could not care less about authenticity and relatability when the fantasy being sold is this good and cohesive. She really escaped the Nougadome. Diet Pepsi might be a fluke, but if Fame as a Gun is still stably rising on the streaming chart, maybe we should lower our prejudice and give her a chance. With this vision, I definitely think she can grow further. That being said, Ms. Girl still has a long way to go because while I love her enthusiasm on stage, she definitely needs to work on her vocals because it's never eating. She's in the C tier. Next, we have Ms. Sabrina Carpenter. I don't think anyone on this list loves and commits to being a pop star more than she has during the last couple of years. Once she stepped out of that contract with Disney, she immediately found her brand with Emails I Can't Send and became so hungry for the throne with the next two albums. Once the sexual innuendos and ultra-feminine images and nonsense and feather worked, she and her team immediately capitalized on that in Short and Sweet and mixed it with a little bit of 80s aesthetic and synth production. And since then, she dropped hits after hits. Espresso became 2024's Song of the Summer, and till this day, people still wish for their faves to have one song like that to get out of Nougadome. Please, 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 and Taste are proof that once you learn and master the art of pop stardom, you can turn basic songs into hits. Let's be honest, these two songs on their own don't have that much replay value or hit factors like Espresso did. But it's the way Sabrina created an environment and an era for them to thrive. It's the StarCast MVs that feature her boyfriend at the time and Ms. Wednesday. It's the constant references and head nods to the 80s pop cultures of fashion and cinema. It's the cohesive narrative and persona of a petite sexual man-hating femme fatale. I agree that part of her success was how after COVID, people became more nostalgic and wanted to escape to the past. If you look at all the hits of this decade, all of them have the elements of nostalgia and escapism in them. And Sabrina's team knows this. The most important duty of a pop star is to reflect the culture that they were in. And she and Short and Sweet did that. not just in the songs or MVs, but she also tailored a brand and a world in red carpets, in tour choreography, in interviews, in social medias, in her brand deals. She knows how to have fun. On the other side, I also get the criticisms of over-referencing, of infantilization, and of overly capitalizing on shock factors for some of her choices. And that was really shown in her immediate next era with Man's Best Friends. She still has hits, still has consistent branding, still knows how to have fun, but it's clear that she is becoming overexposed and the shtick is becoming tiring for the general public. Manchild went #1, but the overall success cannot compare to her previous era because the sound and lyrics are not really new enough. Then, controversy comes with the album cover choice. This is a defining phase that every pop girl has to go through because the industry cannot tolerate women's success for too long. It's the question of reinvention, and if she can evolve this brand. But I think she can do it and survive. Beside Taylor, there's not many pop girls left to compete with her in terms of sales and charts. She is the next pop supreme of the generation and obviously deserves the S tier.
Just the way life goes, I push my luck.
What to say about Gracie Abrams? I do think she has a sound with the alternative bedroom pop, good songs, and a couple of hits. That's So True becomes her billion streams hit, and I Love You, I'm Sorry was even hated on its way to the top. But overall, there are not too many exciting and unique things she brings to the table to differentiate herself from the pop girls right now. Her sound doesn't fill in any gap that the culture really needs at the moment. A lot of tracks on her songs are boring and repetitive, and her weak whispering vocals doesn't help at all. On stage, she's even worse. Being a white girl who writes cute and relatable breakup songs with her guitar isn't enough or sustainable anymore. Taylor has dominated this market decades ago. But the thing is, Taylor even has slightly better vocals and knows reinvention, which Gracie lacks. Even the visuals or performance aspect aren't strong enough to elevate her brand. What the fuck was that album photos? If I'm being generous, I may give her the cute white bow. But overall, my main problem with her is how she brings nothing unique to the table, while there are better alternatives. A lot of people blame nepotism for her success. But I'd just say that she's just another case of the industry rewarding white mediocrity when there wasn't much material to work with in the long term, while not giving the Black or other pop girls of color a chance. That being said, I'd still have to respect her success and her impact on Twitter meme culture. I want to see how she can thrive and beat this allegation after the success of the latest album. For now, she's in B tier.
A, B, C, D, E, F, you and your mom.
I will have to continue the story of white mediocrity with GAYLE because why do you guys blow up that ABCD song and make her think that she has a long-term chance in this industry? A billion streams, Grammy nominations, and being the opener for Eras Tour and all, just for her to face reality years later? The level of blandness and lyrical bare minimum of this song will never be rewarded if a woman of color sings it. What sucks more is that I like GAYLE. I think she's very humble and can sing decently. I think with proper criticism, she can grow in that pop-rock edgy emo territory like Olivia Rodrigo. But the rise of that fuck-ass song kinda ruins everything and even reduces her entire brand to only being the ABCDEFU girl. The other songs from her discography aren't enough to subvert the audience's expectation. So sorry, but she's a D tier. I can't believe that Zara Larsson is also technically a Gen Z. I feel like she's been with us forever back in the day with billion streams hits like Symphony or Lush Life. Coincidentally, both of these hits are having a renaissance lately. Symphony with the dolphin memes in 2024 and Lush Life are rising on charts recently. But would you guys be mad if I say that currently she's not at the A tier or S tier? Don't get me wrong, she can sing and she has hits. But the hits were so back in the day and don't represent the era at the moment. And like she said, people know her songs but don't know her name. There's a difference between a hit singer and a pop star with a strong branding, and she didn't have that much of a strong identity. There's a reason why she becomes a tour opener for Tate Mcrae, even though her career and hits track back way before her. However, with the latest album and Midnight Sun, Zara Larsson is having her espresso moment after a decade. She went viral for the Frutiger Arrow aesthetic, for the colorful makeup, for the flower, and for the upbeat summer sound. She started capitalizing on this when the dolphin meme went viral, I think. She's rebuilding her brand slowly from scratch, and Twitter is falling in love with her again. Midnight Sun keeps reaching new peaks in streaming. I can't wait for her rebirth journey. Controversial, but I will rank her at the B tier.
Hey, baby, I'm a rock star.
Next, we have the one that everyone on this K-pop channel should have known, Ms. Lalisa Manoban. Lisa, as a K-pop idol and as a member of Blackpink, is phenomenal. She has an attractive aura and can dance well. In terms of popularity, she's one of the most followed people on this list. In terms of success, she has hits and good numbers globally, actually. But as an artist and a true pop star with an identity, there's so much room for improvements, and they were clearly shown in her debut album and after leaving YG. I have talked about this in multiple videos already, so please check it out. But long story short, Alter Ego, while having hits, doesn't introduce a strong brand and identity for the public to navigate who Lisa the artist is. She tried to be everything, everywhere, all at once. Multiple alter egos and sound, multiple appearances at award shows and events. But they are all over the place and aren't connected to build a big picture of Lisa, the pop star. In K-pop, you can put an aesthetic and a concept on and off like clothing, but now as a global pop star, people will also care about cohesion, commitment, and authenticity. In addition, her vocals and rapping lyricism are also the elephant in the room. What Lisa needs right now is to slow down and to reflect because she has so much potential and life materials to work with and translate into art. I've seen her visions with some of the best songs of Blackpink like Born Again and New Woman, but for the moment she's in the C tier. I feel like I will get attacked for this, but never mind. Next we have another Blackpink member, ROSÉ, who kinda has the opposite problem with Lisa. She manages to give us a cohesive enough body of work with Rosie, your coming-of-age heartbreak singer-songwriter album with pop ballad songs. But the thing is, this white girl generic sound was already dominated and executed way better by other Western artists like Red by Taylor or Sour by Olivia. Rosie was not exceptional or gave us anything new in terms of vocal, lyricism, or production than the aforementioned 2 albums, except for 2 songs. Her most famous song, APT, and her most famous B-side, Drinks or Coffees. These 2 songs stood out and went viral not only because they are the only upbeat songs with less boring production of these albums, but they also differentiate ROSÉ from just being another basic Western girl with the guitar. APT brings her Korean culture to life by introducing the Korean drinking game to the whole world and then becomes the biggest hit of K-pop since Gangnam Style. Both APT and Drinks and Coffee showcases ROSÉ's playful party persona that we're often seen in real life. I really hope that she can lean into this side for her sophomore album because she definitely cannot compete in the other path. Imagine it like Olivia Rodrigo's transition to a more rock side in Guts after showing a more sad ballad side in Sour. But for now, APT. Success doesn't translate to other songs because of how off-track it feels as an era. If she still wants to follow this path of sad balladry, then I think at least she should diversify the topic. Like in Vampire Holly or Number One Girl, where she discovers the theme of self-doubt and struggles of being an idol. Those songs feel way more lyrically significant than the rest of the album. ROSÉ definitely has a future ahead, and I think she can grow more. But for now, she's in the B tier. Tyla just keeps proving everyone's wrong. The way she manages to create 3 sleeper hits for 3 years straight is just so awesome. From Water to Push, to Start, and now Chanel, she's here to stay. What's even more great is that as an African artist, her success comes global first before entering America. The whole one-sided beef Americans have with her by calling her entitled at award shows, and then disrespectful for identifying as a colored woman is so strange and weird. I guess being Black isn't exempt from the self-centeredness of being American. Living in one of the most racially diverse countries in the world, y'all should have known that race is a fucked up social construct, and different cultures identify and categorize it differently. In Africa, being Black and being colored are completely different things. And in my country, Vietnam, we have 54 different ethnicities, but through the Western lens, we might just be Asian. Anyway, back to the conversation. Tyla has a signature sound and a signature style. She also gives us the dance, the vocals, and the performance. Her aura on stage is so attractive. The groove and the soul she delivers in each stage is what I was looking for more in Tate Mcrae, despite Tyla might not be as great of a dancer. I love the fact that her success is a slow burn and cannot wait for her sophomore album. She's in the A tier.
Red lights, stop signs, I still see your
You should have been there when Driver's License came out. There was something in the air beside COVID. A rookie debuted with a #1 hit and then followed up with 6 other billion hits from the same album that crowns the most streamed female album with only 11 tracks. That's a generational gag. And even with Guts, she proves that she's not an one-album wonder and she's here to stay. She makes purple her color, owns the pop rock sound, and formulates her own writing styles after learning from pop girls Lorde, Taylor, and Avril Lavigne. Here's the difference between Olivia Rodrigo and Gracie Abrams. Both are or were Taylor Swift's daughters. But Olivia Rodrigo manages to give us something unique that differentiates her from Taylor. Stronger vocals, or leaning into a more pop rock territory. I like the fact that while both are pop ballad and rock, Sour leans more into the ballad side, while Guts shows that she can thrive in rock as well. I always like to think that Guts to Sour is like what Speak Now was to Fearless. Of course, the follow-up project cannot compare to their breakout one, yet it strengthens their writing style and identity. If that's the case, then Olivia's Red is coming, which might be her best and most chaotic album sonically. I know that comparing Olivia to Taylor is always the sensitive topic between two fandoms, but I'm just excited to see how she can evolve from this identity. But when you think about it, Olivia is just a perfect Gen Z followed up to Taylor, and I will not elaborate further. I yap a lot, so let's go back to the ranking. She's no doubt one of the Supremes and in the S tier.
karma's a bitch, I should've known better.
Now that Jojo renames her back to Joelle, her bizarre adventure has really come to an end, huh? How could she come from Kids Bops to whatever Karma era was and now become a trad wife? I'm not mad about her liking boys because the kid is still figuring out herself, but I am way more offended by her atrocious music career and identity crisis. I get the rebel phase because every child star has to experience it after the entire trauma of being famous too soon in this industry. But at least when Miley did it, she gave us good music while Jojo tried to burn our ears off. And now she rebrands another time into this, oh God, please save us. She's an F tier. Making it this far, now I want you guys to define the pop in pop stars, not just as in pop music, but also as a vessel in pop culture. Pop stars can be in any genre that defines the culture at the moment. They can be pop, but also hip-hop like Doechii. There are reasons why I bring up racism within this topic, because while all women are often under a higher level of scrutiny and expectation than men, there are also differences and levels between how white women and black women are treated, especially with monoracial black women like Doechii. Out of all people, she's the one that got called industry plant when she has to perform crazily, rap her ass off, deliver the most insane bars, create one of the most cohesive projects in 2024, and even tailor a strong branding. Y'all were literally making Anxiety go viral and begging her to release the solo version, and now when she did, that song became the worst song of the year? At this point, if she can't even climb to the top among legends, it's not even her fault, honestly, and I don't blame her. So far, I'm just glad that she earned her well-deserved success after years of struggling. The Swamp Princess is an A tier.
Stop playing with him, Riot.
And now if we even dig deeper, there are also levels of differences between the expectations for African-descendant female artists due to colorism. Just look at Ice Spice. The same flow and same lyrics about shit since the start of her career just makes me think that the white general audience just wants to have a light-skinned enough black woman with a digestible identity of hip-hop to push on top. They try to market and promote Ice Spice as the next Rap It girl in multiple projects. Some land in success, but most show that her talent and artistry can't hold up in the long term. And now she's declining in real time. Don't get me wrong, she has some bops. But artistic evolution is zero. She was in the B tier, but now in the C tier.
My name is Pink and I'm really glad to meet you.
I think Pinkpantheress is the perfect example of the conversation that I mentioned at the start, which was Gen Z pop stars are about building your own world and serving your own niche audience. Pinkpantheress walks on a lane of her own with super short songs, UK garage, bedroom pop, and Y2K aesthetics. She's not the first one to do it, but she's definitely the one who owns and revolutionizes it the most in the mainstream before the entire K-pop was trying to reheat the nachos. Actually, Pink also took inspiration from FX, so I will let it slide. Pop girls are either vocalists, performers, or songwriters, but I feel like she and Charlie XCX are introducing another category, the producers. Her beats are always insane. She may not sing or dance or write the most complex lyrics, but she delivers a sound, and most importantly, creates a world and draws us in. Another strategy that not much people were talking about was how she always performs in small spaces rather than in front of big audiences.
My name's Pink and I'm really glad to meet you.
Like she goes niche into her own lanes. I also love her transition from emo to girly pop. My bias wants to put her in the A tier, but I feel like she herself doesn't want too much spotlight. She's in the B tier. Chappell Roan is the kind of songwriter that's taking their time to craft an album. You can call her lazy or wasting the potential to ride off the momentum of the rise and fall of a Midwest princess. But honestly, I would prefer her taking enough breaks between albums to take inspiration and polish the work, rather than cooking half-baked back-to-back albums just for the sake of the industry's cycle. And honestly, her debut era already garnered extreme results for her to sustain a career. Feminine Omenon, Pink Pony Club, Hot to Go, or Red Wine Supernova were all crafted and released way before they became a hit, or even when the album was released. If we took 3 to 5 years to recognize her artistry in this album, then we can definitely wait for her second one. More importantly, Chappell Roan is a one-of-a-kind pop girl right now in terms of identity. I cannot remember the last time a lesbian artist became mainstream. Of course, Chappell has white privilege to back her up, but I just appreciate how she fully embraces her queerness in her lyrics and the drag queen aesthetics. She gives theater in every aspect of her fashion, makeup, and stages. And that girl has the vocals, the stage presence, and the confidence to back her up. I remember when she was blowing up in 2024, both her and the general public didn't get used to this level of fame and the ramification that comes up. She demands privacy. The public said that's the inevitable price of fame. She said pop stars shouldn't be the one to be looked up at for political answers. The public, or at least Americans, becomes outraged while still letting Trump into the office. She said both sides are bad, but she will still vote for Kamala. The public focuses on criticizing her mispronouncing the genocider's name. And I was just like, damn, I can never be a celebrity. Of course, Chappell doesn't often put her words together nicely. Media training, as people call it nowadays. And can be an airhead, like the recent Brigitte Bardot incident. But from what I've seen, the criticisms were always blown out of proportions and not directed to address the core problem. Anyway, she's cooking her sophomore album, and I can't wait. Actually, I can wait for it. She's an A tier. I'm very conflicted about Madison Beer. On one hand, I do believe that she should develop an identity more than being Megan Fox with great music. Everyone keeps saying that her conventionally attractive appearance is doing a disservice to her brand. And she should keep doing this dark pop and siren aura by capitalizing on the momentum of Make You Mine. On the other hand, I also agree with her feeling that she should not be forced into this unique brand that only exists for the sake of being unique. Before being a strong brand, Madison should be a human first and take her time to marinate her artistry. Her time will come when it comes. Now, removing all of that out of the equation, at the end of the day, she still has a great voice and a sound, actually. She's not even that flopping. Bittersweet is rising on the chart every day, and she was aura farming in the Victoria's Secret fashion show. The B in Madison Beer is for the B tier. If Olivia Dean doesn't win Best New Artist this year, I think there will be a lot of riots. Because unlike last year's tough competition, this year, She's the most well-rounded option in terms of talent, artistry, branding, and commercial success. She's topping the streaming chart right now with multiple songs off her debut album, The Art of Loving. She's competing with the big names like Taylor Swift. Her jazzy sound, while not necessarily a breakthrough, stands along in the mainstream at the moment. What I appreciate about her and pinkpantheress is that they are both very sensual and feminine, yet not sexualized as Black biracial women. With her success, I really want to put her in the A tier, but I feel like we haven't had the time to marinate her presence in pop culture yet. Like she was rarely in the pop discussion like the A tier does. So I will put her at B for now. Speaking of Dean, we can't forget her classmate. Ms. Rae is here to stay. Her debut album was one of the best albums this decade. She tackles so many socio-political and personal problems such as bigotry, body dysmorphia, homophobia, climate change, above the insane production that mixes pop, jazz, R&B, and house and the insane vocal riff. She's one of the extremely few new pop girls where I can confidently say that she's a vocalist. You don't know how much escapism helps me escape reality. I was so scared that the general public would just forget about her when the state of the industry was full of TikTok music and people who can't sing. But after the release of Where's My Husband, maybe there's still some hope left in humanity. She's doing very well and earns her deserved praise after years of struggling in this industry. The feeling when a talented artist finally receives recognition is so peak. She's in the A tier. Just like Zara Larsson, I feel like Camila was also popular too soon at a transitional period, but then got her relevance dying down in this new decade. She was the Beyoncé of Fifth Harmony and literally spawned back-to-back hits after leaving the group. Bad Things, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Never Be the Same, Havana, or Señorita. Her first two albums make her even bigger than her old group. She was everywhere. And then Familia came and even dug deeper into her Latina roots and sound. The album didn't really flop and still had hits like Don't Go Yet or Bam Bam, but you can see the decline in commercial success compared to other previous albums. At this point, she still has a consistent brand and a unique identity. Since her days in Fifth Harmony, Camila has always stood out for her unique vocal tone. And then CXOXO came and flipped everything around. Everyone was calling this an inauthentic rebrand and trying too hard to reheat Charlie's Nacho. While I do believe that the hyperpop change can be too abrupt for the public to get used to her evolution, I also think that she suffers from certain racial stereotyping notions that she will have to keep doing the Latina music forever. I was a defender of I Love It when it came out, and I believed it was overhated. The entire album was actually cohesive and not bad, but unfortunately the success went down. That all being said, her legacy still has to be respected with all of these mega hits. She's an A tier. Both Olivia and Billie have had an insane and monstrous debut, but for Olivia, it feels like an earthquake when she went out with hits after hits and bangers after bangers. For Billie, it's like a tsunami where the waves were slowly built up that accumulated into a giant tsunami. If you were there during her debut EP era, you will get what I'm saying. Suddenly, on one day in 2016 or 2017, everyone and their mother started seeing a depressing emo teenage girl on their YouTube recommendations or SoundCloud with alternative music, baggy cloth, silver blue hair colors, sad eyes, creepy visuals, and haunting vocals. Everyone was calling her the Gaga or the Lana Del Rey of the next generation. She made happy people depressed, and depressed people happy with her presence in pop culture. And then when her first full album hit, she cleared the entire Big Four categories of the Grammy. There is, of course, valid criticism towards the Academy for their favoritism to Billie, but you can't deny that her album was one of the most influential projects of that year. And of course, after any overexposure period, there will be a hate train. Blonde Billie fell out of love with the public with past racial slurs videos and queerbaiting allegations. The singles didn't perform well like her debut anymore, but the era was kinda saved in the end when Happier Than Ever became one of her most well-written hit songs. I actually think this album is the most underrated project. Hit Me Hard and Soft kinda solidifies again that she is the leading main pop girl of the next generation. She competed directly with legends in the industry like Taylor in terms of commercial success or Beyoncé in terms of critics. Even though she kinda lost the battles, the album was still influential and strengthened the stamp Billie's had on pop culture. Her side quests, like the soundtrack for Barbie or James Bond, also witnessed prosperity. Undoubtedly, she's the S tier. So this section is for the Kia Asylum. It's crazy about how different the trajectories of ADÉLA and Cat's Eye go, right? One is the group that made it to the lineup. The other is the soloist that got eliminated from the show. One is in a giant conglomerate. The other built her career independently from the ground up. One is doing Kids Bop's music. The other is reintroducing a sexy and bold image. One is criticized for not having a sonic identity. The other is thriving for electronic dance pop. One is gaining immense mainstream success. The other is still under the radar. Wish the best for her future career, but for now, she's in the D tier with so much potential.
Hi, hello, you've been running circles in my head.
flowerovlove is my favorite Nugu artist. I love her bubblegum pop sound and cute, refreshing style. But since the industry often stereotypes and categorizes dark-skinned Black women into either R&B, hip-hop, or African-influenced pop music, she will not rise to mainstream soon. But her music is just so pure pop and so catchy. I wish her the best. She's in the D tier for now. If Taylor Swift's Daughters or Apprentices were her albums, Sabrina would be Showgirl, Olivia would be Speak Now, Gracie would be Poets, and then Maisie Peters would be Debut or Fearless. Just like Gracie, her country-influenced sound doesn't really give anything new compared to what Taylor has done 18 years ago. And even worse than Gracie, she doesn't have any proper hits to even stand out as well. Not all Eras Tour openers can really grab their chances. She's in the D tier as well.
Oh hi, I wanna take you on a little ride.
I really hope Lola Young is okay after she faints. Everyone on Twitter treats her like a joke, but I honestly like her indie alt-pop sound and unique image. I think her artistry is raw, honest, and bold. I am hesitant between the D tier and the C tier. But looking at her relevance, decent numbers of hits, and music quality, I think it's safe to put her at C, right?
Kiss a blind, kiss a friend. Can a gay girl get an amen?
Everyone keeps saying that they love Renee's voice, but they just wish she had better music. So I gave her a try because I mostly knew her as an actress from the Mean Girl reboot. It's not that bad, but it definitely needs more spice and uniqueness. So far, she has some semi-hits, but none really went all the way, if you know what I mean. Not completely irrelevant, though, our lesbian Regina George is in the C or D tier. But look at the C tier right now. I don't think she can keep up with them, so D, I guess. Please don't kill me, but back in 2019, I cannot tell Clairo and Gracie Abrams apart. Both are brunette nepo baby white girls who barely sing with this bedroom alt-pop singer-songwriter style. But as the future unfolds, I feel like in terms of artistry, Clairo is way more developed. Her sounds evolve and become more diverse. The albums are cohesive. The dream pop production is what differentiates her the most, I think. Even though she's not big, she has an audience dedicated to listening and supporting her. As an artist? Love her. But as a pop girl? I don't think she really wants to go all the way in the pop culture field and wants to stay more low-key. She always pops up randomly here and there every Tuesday, but not fully emerges in these conversations, if you know what I mean. And I don't think she needs to, or be interested in it. I respect that. She's in the C tier.
I'm in a reckless fever, love-struck girl at tea.
I just learned how to pronounce her name yesterday because I often call her the main character of One Piece. Laufey is also in this bedroom pop territory, right? But she also blends the jazzy and classical sound into her identity. She and Olivia Dean will low-key bring in the future jazz influence into the mainstream, I hope. Just like Clairo, I feel like Laufey is the kind of artist that a lot of people listen to, but not everyone knows who she is. Soft and basic images are not enough to truly stand out in the mainstream as a brand. Like I said, they don't need to, and can just need to release music if they want. But this ranking is about being pop stars, and she's also in the C tier. In case she really wants to build a brand, I think the vintage aesthetic is a room to go for.
Finding the right words to use for this song.
Beabadoobee is also another name I always pronounce wrong because the theme song of Perry the Platypus always popped up in my head. This is the third soft, dreamy bedroom pop girl on a roll. And what makes it worse is that sometimes I messed up with her and Laufey together. Again, all of them make great music and have a sound. But as pop stars, they are in the same realm with each other. Ethel Cain is like the opposite pinkpantheress. One makes long-ass music, one produces super short songs. One is white, one is black. One is trans, one is cis. One is American, one is British. But both are talented artists with strong identities. Both redefine nostalgia in their own ways. Ethel's gothic and religious persona, combined with the rock alt ambient sound, is the antithesis of the pop soundscape nowadays. This dark branding, while not making her big, gives her a unique identity and the audience a way to experience art in a slower and different way than the mainstream. That's why she has a small yet dedicated fan base. She's not meant to be big yet, but she has a unique stand in pop culture, despite going against most of its rules. She's in the D tier.
When you decide you like yourself, holler at me. When you decide you need someone, call up on me.
We can all agree that Chloe and Halle is better as an artist when they are together, right? With Ungodly Hours, the Bailey sisters gave us vocals, harmony, pop R&B supremacy that when they went solo, the magical dynamic disappeared. Like, yeah, Chloe has Have Mercy and Halle becomes The Little Mermaid, but their other projects tanked. Both of them are good vocalists, but the individual identity and branding aren't strong enough. Like, there's this energy when they come together, everything becomes ethereal and spiritual and siren-esque. If you know what I mean. As a duo, they have high potentials, but as soloists, both are in the D tier. So that's the long list. So far, I think my current list is very solid. The S tiers are the big three. They are the main pop girls who define this generation the most. The A tiers are competitive frontrunners as well. They just lack a certain small thing. The B tiers have potential but don't go all the way yet. The C tiers show a glimpse of greatness but overall underdeveloped. The D tiers are the Kia Asylum and the F tier is just Jojo Siwa. I know this list will cause a lot of controversy, but as always, I welcome constructive criticisms. But please don't turn this into dumb fan wars. Please let me know what you think about this ranking, how would you rank them, or if there's anyone I missed. This is one of my attempts to branch out of K-pop content for this channel because I don't want to just focus on that.